Everyone is going pussy crazy for Stray at the moment, with the trade press and YouTubers alike giving it high scores and praising its unique concept. So Reggie here thought it would be worth checking out and asking a very simple question. Is a game that can be completed in less than 5 hours worth $30 of your hard earned money? Well, get yourself a beer and let's discuss the issue at hand. Now let's be real here, people. Cats are cats. You ain't ever going to change Reggie's mind on that one, as simply dogs will always be the superior animal choice. So I went into Stray with many anti-cat feelings, but I actually came out a pussy lover. That's because Stray does present things differently. You start out as a little ginger cat living in a dystopian future. You do cat shit and following other cats doing their cat shit, when suddenly you fall down a little hole and find yourself at the bottom of a dirty city where humans are all but gone, with mysterious robots running the gaff. Your role is to climb up to the top of the city and get back to the outside world. I'll say no more than that, boys and girls, because to ruin the story of Stray would be actually to give away what makes it so intriguing. Now, in all of this banter with the robots, as a cat you have the ability to jump about the city, climbing up on air conditioning units or jumping over little beams. Now, at first glance, it is impressive, with strong level design, with an option to always find somewhere new to go. But then you take a step back and then you actually find it's quite shallow in its design. You see, the first major issue I have here is that the items and platforms are conveniently placed in such a bloody fashion that it feels totally on rails. You'll be prancing around the joint and suddenly see a hole that only a little pussy could navigate, or you'll be wondering where to go, and lo and behold, there's a bucket for your little ginger ninja cat to go into. I've no idea who built these little buckets or why it's there, but you quickly learn that everything is made this way to push you in that right direction. You're telling me here that this barrel was conveniently placed to get to a higher place for my little pussy cat to travel up to? Pull the other one, sunshine. You see, this takes away the very nature of what curious cats do. That is, finding out stuff for themselves and being mischievous little shits. The game challenge, therefore, is lacking at best, and rarely will you die or get lost, as simply everything is laid out to you in such a way that it doesn't feel like a cat's playground at all, but rather a city where a cat has already been and he's left all its parts in its place for you to discover. There are chase moments, for example, but it's so bloody obvious what to do that it feels like there's no way of failing at any time. The set pieces, if you want to call them that, are okay at best. Not terrible, but with an agile cat to control, you feel there was a missed opportunity here to have some real proper fun with it. As for what you can do here, well, there are some lovely little touches to make it feel a bit more cat-like. Yes, you can meow, yes, you can be a dick and knock stuff off tables or shelves, and yes, you can scratch the shit out of IKEA-style furniture and be a proper douchebag. In general, though, I wish there was more cat things to do, in particular, ones that serve a purpose. There is no mice to be found to hunt food and ensure you replenish your health or hunger, no dogs to chase you around for sheer banter and cause you anxiety. In fact, there's no other animals at all. So how comes only cats survive this dystopian future is anyone's guess, and a strange part of the story that is never really touched upon. Overall then, it feels more just like cute animations on display than anything else, and as for the jumping, it becomes a mixed bag. Generally speaking, you have what Reggie here calls a half-assed attempt at freedom. Yes, you sort of can go in any direction you choose, but it's highly linear and you can't just jump about as you please that we've become accustomed to in other games like Assassin's Creed or Breath of the Wild. Instead, you have to jump around when the button A flashes up on the screen. It feels a bit cheap overall, with many of the potential areas to traverse blocked with spikes or railings. So whilst I think the gameplay is weaker than many other reviewers have put it down for, I do think the story here leaves more than enough to plough on through the city, and fingers crossed there could and should be a sequel. Now usually at this point Reggie here likes to talk about graphics, but on this occasion I want to move straight to sound because the soundtrack is an absolute delight. It's very much Blade Runner style cyberpunk on offer here with 80s style electronic keyboards on display, and there's these lovely little ambient sounds to fill the air, such as the noises of the cities or bottles falling over as you knock into them. It's no wonder the developers felt confident to release a special edition with the soundtrack on offer as a separate piece, and it really does add to the overall look and feel of a world that has fallen apart with very little hope left. I bang this drum a lot, but so many games overlook the importance of sound and just what it can actually offer a game's overall immersion, and Stray is definitely up there as one of the best sounding games of the year. Now graphically there is a lot to discuss here because on first look you'll be wowed and then you'll be let down a bit, then you'll be wowed again, and you'll have this feeling throughout the game. Yes, it is a great looking pussy platformer where your cat does look realistic with his little ginger fur showing off its detail. Then comes the actual world you walk about in, and the greenery and buildings and general decor is all drawn and designed in such a fashion that it's not too difficult to imagine what a city might look like once Putin lobs a missile at us. Weirdly, at times I felt this game looks a lot like The Last of Us, which is no bad thing. Then I started to notice a few little annoyances, which is locked down really to the game design itself. You see, the animations, for example, I mean, they're good for the most part, but it doesn't feel as fluid as you would hope as your little pussy comes to a sudden halt when jumping, and it all feels a bit rigid. And if you really want to look hard, you can see that your cat doesn't make contact with surfaces at all, more so when climbing stairs and whatnot. Reggie, of course, is being a picky little shit, but I think more than anything it's just a symbolic feature of the animation overall, in that it doesn't feel like your cat is as connected with the world as it should be. Another prime example here is that whilst bottles and cans are animated and they can be moved as you get near them, other items like bin bags do sod all. In fact, much of the environment feels pre-rendered, and so it's, I don't know, it just sort of reinforces this idea that the developers only want you engaging with items that actually do stuff, versus living in a world that can be interacted with like any curious cat would do. Now lighting is a big one here, and it is utterly superb. Much like Cyberpunk, the lighting really is what gives the aesthetic to Stray, with neon lights reflecting in puddles of water and shadows giving just the right amount of contrast to the light. So good is it, Reggie here thought at first glance this game was ray trace enabled, but then I had to understand this is a small studio that never announced such a thing. So that is credit to the boys and girls who made it, that even I had this thought at first. Generally speaking, it ran well on my 4K setup with Johnny Two Shoes RTX 3080 powering the little pussy galore game, but I did notice some small stutters here and there, so hopefully they can be fixed with some patches. So is it worth the $30? Well, as you know, Reggie here will never sit on a fence and will always give a straight answer, and so for me the answer is a no. I personally think it's something you can pick up for $20 or less, simply because for 5 hours or less of gameplay there isn't really much in the way of a challenge or indeed replayability. What makes it so interesting is that mysterious storyline, but once again you're going to find very little reason to go back to it. So it's a solid score and one that is well deserved, but so much more could have been done here, and I do hope we see a sequel where a bigger investment allows for a bigger pussy world to be explored. And with that, boys and girls, you have a good day and I'll speak to you all soon. Reggie out.